What's going on, guys? Briar Rabbit here. Today we're going to talk about building a Destiny 2 capable PC and how much that would cost. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, Briar, you did that months ago. Why are you repeating old content? Well, because new information has come to light, man. Yesterday, Bungie announced the recommended specs, the minimum specs, and then another set of recommended and minimum specs based on current new hardware, as well as basically revealing what their event machine has been, what they've been showing off Destiny 2 at the Destiny reveal event or at E3, letting the public play Destiny 2 on PC. This is the machine they've been doing that on. Now, I think it's interesting to look at the first set and second set, or the first set of recommended specs and minimum specs, because this is stuff that I think is very worthwhile to people who have a PC. If you currently have a PC, it's worth comparing what you have to these setups up here. But if you're building a new PC, these setups down here are much more valuable to us, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. Building a brand new PC from scratch to run Destiny 2, how much is that going to cost us? And we're going to look at 4 builds to do it. One is going to be this minimum spec, one is going to be this recommended spec, one is going to be the Bungie event machine. How much would that actually cost? And then there's a fourth build that I'll show at the end that is all about content creation. If you're a content creator thinking about streaming Destiny 2 or recording Destiny 2 and making videos, I feel like there's a better build than the Bungie event machine out there for us. So let's get started. We're going to go to our old friend PC Part Picker here, and boom, right off the bat, what you see on the screen is the minimum recommended spec for Destiny 2, coming in at a price of $404.81. Now, what's shocking to me about this price is this is what Bungie says the minimum spec to run Destiny 2 on a computer is, and that it's coming in at a console price. This is essentially the same price as a PlayStation 4 Pro and $100 less than an Xbox One X. I think this is really exciting because it invites more people into the PC gaming world and more people into play Destiny 2 on the PC. I foresee a lot of people who are kind of looking at their decision, do I want to upgrade from an Xbox One to an Xbox One X, or do I want to upgrade from a PS4 to a PS4 Pro? Looking at this price and saying, well, I could keep my PS4 and have access to PC gaming in addition. Or I could keep my Xbox One and have access to PC gaming in addition for less than an Xbox One X. I think it's a really attractive price. Is this a high-end PC? No. Is it going to run Destiny 2? Yes. And I find that to be really exciting. Now, what are we looking at here? Well, we got an Intel Pentium G4560, which is a 3.5 gigahertz dual-core processor for $80. Is this a high-end processor? No, not by any means. But it's a really affordable processor that's pretty damn fast for its cost and can run relatively high frame rates in video games right now. It's well known in the PC gaming community as a great budget buy for PC gaming. We've also got a relatively affordable Gigabyte motherboard here for $45. We got Crucial 8 gigabytes of memory. Now, you can save some money here on memory, but I wanted to make sure that I was getting 8 gigabytes, which is the minimum recommended for Destiny 2, in a name brand I trust, and that was Crucial. So I did spend a little bit more than the minimum on memory here. You could get that for around $40, actually. Now, I also spent a little bit more on an SSD. It's a small SSD, 120 gigabytes is not a lot of space. There'll be room for your operating system, Windows 10, and a few games and a few applications, but not much other than that. So you could save some money here by going with a spinning disk drive, which is going to be bigger, or you could spend a little bit more money, keep the SSD, and get a spinning disk drive to use in addition to this for storage or for other games. But here's the thing about SSDs. I consider them to be a minimum requirement for a new PC right now. They make your PC feel so much more responsive and so much faster. They boot up faster, programs boot faster. The whole PC just feels faster because of SSDs as opposed to a spinning disk drive. Even though it's $60, I thought it was great that we could get an SSD in here for about $400. The GTX 1050, I think, is where you'd probably want to upgrade first if you built this PC. If you absolutely got to stay in that $400 budget, the 1050 is a nice video card that will get you far. But if you absolutely want high frame rates or maximum detail, high or super high settings in your video games, the 1050 is going to be your limiting factor here. So maybe you get a tax return next year and you upgrade your video card. The 1050 is a nice card, and it fits into that $400 budget, but it'll probably be the first thing you want to upgrade down the line after building this PC. The case isn't a super nice case. It's a Rosewill. It's only $30. I'll show you guys a picture of it. It is a basic bitch black case. There's really nothing special about this case other than the price. And I thought it was nice that they at least painted the interior so it's not just gray metal on the inside. But I was really just looking at prices here for the case. And then we have a Thermaltake 500 watt, 80 plus bronze certified power supply for only $20, which I thought was a really nice price. And you can get this for $404. I thought that was really exciting news yesterday. When I realized how low the minimum system requirements were going to be for Destiny 2, I got really excited because that means that more people can afford to play Destiny 2 on the PC. And that makes me happy as a community member and, of course, as a content creator. Now, the next step up from there is Destiny 2's recommended spec. And this is a lot more money. It's about double the price of the minimum recommended. For that, you're getting a better processor, you're getting a bigger hard drive, and you're getting a much faster, much better video card. So where is all that extra money going? Now, you can actually get this to be under $800, but there were some choices I made that increased the cost of this, and I'll get to those in a little bit. Now, the i5-7400 is a quad-core processor, so it's going to be a little more capable than the dual-core that we saw in the minimum build. So if you are going to do some light video rendering or some processing, it's going to be a little more capable of that. It's not going to be just a basic video game machine like the minimum recommended is. There is going to be some more processing that can happen from that Core i5, but you got to pay double the price for it. I also went with liquid cooler here. I should let you guys know that the i5-7400K or 7400 is not a K version, so it's not overclockable. So putting a liquid cooler on there is not necessary. And the 7400 comes with a CPU cooler in the box. This is extra. You do not need this. But for me, if I'm building a brand new PC, I really appreciate in my office having quiet PCs. Quiet PC, liquid coolers tend to be quieter than heat sinks on the processor itself. So I would go with it. For my build, if I was building a $800 PC, I would go with the cooler as well. If price is the primary concern for you, skip this. Totally skip this. You can't overclock this anyway, so there's limited usefulness out of a liquid cooler other than just the noise that the coolers make. For a motherboard, we went with a $100 motherboard, Gigabyte motherboard Z270X. This was purely a price choice. And that's why I went with the Gigabyte board. The memory was similar. I went with DDR4 2400 memory by G.Skill. This is a very good memory, 8 gigabytes. If you're going to upgrade this PC, you may want to go up to 16 gigabytes. That's going to help you with other tasks. For storage, again, I went with an SSD, this time a 240 gigabyte SSD for $75.99. This is double the size of the last one for little, like, what is it, $10 more? But you're probably still going to want a spinning disk drive in addition to this for more storage. The video card is the big up here. It's $308 as opposed to $100 for the minimum recommended. But what you're getting is a GTX 1060 6 gigabyte gaming video card. And this is a much more capable video card than what we saw with the 1050. This is the standard for 1080p gaming right now. If you're planning on playing games at 1080p, this is right where you want to sit. This is the sweet spot. The 1060 is a very nice video card. For the case, we did spend a little bit more on the case, $40 case, but I thought it was worth it because aesthetically, it just looks a little nicer. You're going to be looking at this thing all the time, and it was a pretty nice looking Corsair case. For $40, you could definitely spend a lot less on a case if you so choose. And then we went with the same 500 watt, 80 plus certified Thermaltake power supply for $20. This is a really nice build. You can reduce the cost of this down below $800 if you really do save. And right off the bat, you can get rid of this CPU cooler if you don't want it, because again, the i5 does come with a CPU cooler in the box. Next, I wanted to take a look at Bungie's event machine. Now, you guys will remember I guesstimated what this machine was when I first came back from the Destiny Reveal event. I was pretty much on the money there. It is an i7-7700K with a 1080 Ti graphics card in it. The price of this thing is going to run you just under $2,000. Again, you can make some decisions in speccing this thing out that will get it a little bit cheaper for you. If I was building this a PC, this is essentially what I would build for myself, though. Again, I did go with a liquid cooler. This time it is actually, I would say, more important because this is a 7700K, which means it's overclockable. It runs base at 4.2 gigahertz, but you can overclock that thing to 4.6 easy, and some people get up to 4.8, 4.9, and the higher that you get that processor going, the faster your frame rate is going to be in most video games that you play. This is a premium processor for gaming right now. It's hard to do any better. It's a very nice processor. If you want the absolute best frame rate you can get, it's pretty much your go-to. And keeping that thing cool is very important. So I'd definitely go with a very good air cooler or a liquid cooler. The motherboard, you can definitely scrimp here. You can get a Z270 motherboard for around $100 like we did in the recommended build. For me, there's other things in play, so I went with a slightly more expensive motherboard, but you could definitely save some money there. For memory, I went with DDR4 3000 memory, 16 gigabytes of it for $140. It's a pretty good price, I thought. I wasn't too upset about that. Again, I went with an SSD, this time a 480 gigabyte SSD. That's going to be pretty good. Again, you may want to add some solid state or some spinning disk drives for storage in addition to this, but 480 is pretty good. That's going to store Windows and most of your games without much of a problem. If you got a lot of music or if you got a lot of pictures, you might start running into space issues, but 480 isn't too bad. The video card, I went with a GeForce GTX 1080 Ti. You can get these things anywhere from $750 to $1,000. You get a really nice video card for $750 and $770 in this case. I really like this video card. I think MSI makes good stuff. EVGA makes really good stuff. There's a bunch of companies out there that are making these graphics cards. And really, depending on your budget, you're not going to do a whole lot better than $750. The case you could definitely save some money on, though. I went with a $170 Fantex Evolve through Involve case. I just think this looks sexy as hell. I love this case desperately. For $170, it's my pick, but you can easily get a much cheaper case than $170. Save yourself some money down here. And then we did go with a 750 watt, 80 plus gold certified, fully modular ATX power supply. Since we are building a more expensive, nicer PC, I did want to go fully modular and with a little bit of extra wattage for future upgrades. Again, you can get this PC around $1,700 actually, without too much of a compromise. Get a cheaper motherboard, skip out on the liquid cooling, maybe a different SSD or a smaller SSD, and you can save a few dollars on the 1080 Ti, and definitely you can save $130 easily on a case, but you're just not going to get a sexy case like the Fantex. No problem there. So this is a really nice PC, and it's really expensive. That's what we already knew about this. Now, I did want to build one more here for you. This is the Destiny 2 content creator build. This is going to be about the same price as Bungie's Event Machine. The difference is that with Bungie's Event Machine, you're using a Core i7 7700K, and you're going after pure gaming performance. Right now, there's not a better choice out there for pure gaming than the i7 7700K. For a content creator who wants to stream or to render videos on the same PC, or perhaps only has budget for one PC and wants to play Destiny 2 and stream it from the same PC, the Ryzen 7 1700 is going to be the best choice for you. It's an 8-core, 16-thread processor, as opposed to the 7700K, which is a 4-core, 8-thread processor. So it's got double the amount of processing power, but it doesn't run as fast. So it's not going to get you the absolute pinnacle of frame rate that the 7700K is going to get you. But what it is going to allow you to do is play Destiny 2 on your PC at an acceptable frame rate and stream it without dropping frames. It's a very good processor. It's going to render videos faster than a 7700K. It's going to be better for streaming. If you are a content creator, I know there are a bunch of you guys out there, this is a better choice if you're building a new PC than a 7700K. Again, we're going to liquid cool this thing. Not necessary. You don't need to liquid cool a Ryzen 7. I like liquid cooling because it's quieter. So when I build a PC, I tend to add it. But the Ryzen 7s do come with a fan, with a heatsink, and it's perfectly capable of running this thing all day at 3.0 gigahertz. If you're going to overclock it, you might want to think about it a little bit, but they tend not to be heat limited for overclocking. It's usually not the cooling solution that's keeping it from overclocking higher. It's usually the voltages. So it's not that big a deal to get a liquid cooler for a Ryzen processor. We did go with an Asus Prime motherboard that's 8289. Depending on what kind of connections you want, depending on what you want to do with it, you may want to spend a little bit more on that motherboard. Memory is a little finicky with Ryzen right now, so do your research when you're buying memory for a Ryzen processor. SanDisk, we went with the same SSD. We went with the Bungie Event Machine. We did go with a different video card. It's about $10 cheaper, but equivalent video card, and of course that same case because it's so freaking sexy, and an EVGA 750 watt power supply that's a little bit cheaper than what was in Bungie's Event Machine, but not as sexy because it's semi-modular instead of fully modular. These are going to be equivalent prices. Okay, so don't be fooled, like, because this one's 1953 and this one's 1769. If you had all this stuff that was equivalent, they're going to be about the same price. The Ryzen 7, even though it's a more powerful processor, it is a little bit cheaper than the i7 7700K. But, you know, pick your poison here. Do you want to play Destiny 2 and stream from the same PC? Or are you not interested in that and you just want the absolute best performance for gaming alone? I am really excited right now. I am psyched because the Destiny 2 minimum recommended specs come in at $400, and that means that more people are going to be able to afford to play Destiny 2 than ever before. Whether you are playing on a PS4 or an Xbox One or a $400 PC, this community is going to welcome you, and it's one of the best communities out there in gaming. And right now you're thinking, why are you being so cheesy? That's ridiculous. How can you say this is the best community? Well, trust me. Once you join in, you'll understand. You'll be coming back to this comment section saying, Briar, you were right. Best community, best community, best community. And to that I say, I know, and you're welcome. This is an awesome PC for $400. You know, it really speaks to me that it's the same price as a PS4 Pro. It's $100 less than an Xbox One X. So, you know, in a world where people already have PS4s and are thinking about upgrading to a PS4 Pro, or have an Xbox One, or thinking about upgrading to an Xbox One X, this to me is a cooler thing because it opens up a whole new library of games that you didn't have access to when you were just an Xbox gamer or just a PS4 gamer. Now you can go on Steam and check out some of these other games that you just never had access to. And that is really exciting. It's much more exciting than getting better graphics on the games I already have access to. So that's it. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button if you liked the video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time.